Right? Appreciate it. Good afternoon. First, let me say I appreciate the grace at giving me a second chance. I'm without an executive assistant right now, so and I very clearly need one. Just so you know, I am better at running a city than I am at running my own calendar. But I made it this time, on time. I was a little earlier. So I do appreciate the opportunity to come and talk to you guys about Newberry. I really do actually appreciate it. I'm not just saying that. I see you guys and the work that you do as a partnership with the city of Newberry. We need you on the front line helping us grow in the way that we want to grow. And in order for you guys to do that, you need people like me to come and tell you, this is how we're growing, this is how we'd like to grow, these are the things we'd like to accomplish. So I'm a fourth generation Newberry resident, and I will always show up to talk about all things Newberry, except when I don't put it on my calendar. Then I don't show up, but again, I feel very bad about that. Let's start off with a little Now, if that doesn't make you want to live in Newberry, I don't know that I can help. But there is a little thing called Christmas that's coming up. Maybe your heart can grow 3 sizes. It happens every once in a while. But that is my home. Newberry is an agricultural community. We are a small town community. I'm going to harp on that a lot. Our population is growing, but for me, being a small town has always been much more how we treat each other than any actual number, right? If I'm saying yes ma'am, no sir, if I'm waving at you in the road, if I know you, if I'm involved, we're a small town. So with that, I know we got some commercial, who are my commercial realtors in here? I can tell you guys are a rowdy bunch already. So I've got a Q&A session at the end, but we don't have to be that formal. So if there's a question that you want, just shout it out right now. We just topped 9,000 in our population. Again, small town is about how we treat each other, not about a population. I've heard mayors of cities of 100,000 talk about their towns as small towns, right? It's about perspective. I was born in Newberry when Newberry was 1,500 to 2,000 or 9,000, but I still know just about everybody in Newberry, and I wave at most of them, and most of them wave back. Some of them even with all 5 fingers. Our population, we're the fastest growing city in Alachua County, right? Over 7%. But what's more important is that for the last decade, we've maintained 5.5. Now, I like to put myself to sleep at night by reading municipal studies. Anywhere between 4 to 6% is robust growth, but it's manageable growth, right? We hear a lot about infrastructure and building and growth and can you keep up. 4 to 6%, that's manageable. If you're forward thinking, if you've got the right team in place, you can absolutely keep up with the infrastructure needs at that growth rate. 7, you're beginning to push a little bit, it's causing some tension. But the flip side of that is if you're sub 4, you've got other problems, right? The city of Newberry was one of only 2 governing entities in the last fiscal year that lowered our millage rates and increased the level of service. Every other government around us had to increase their rates and cut services. Now, I would argue that probably the reason, one of the main reasons that we were able to do that is because we're a growing community. We're socializing the increasing cost of construction across a greater population. If you're the city of Archer and your population is declining, well, you're asking the 1,000 people who've now turned into 950 to absorb all of those costs collectively, and that's a difficult thing to do. We issue about 200 residential building permits a year and about 25 commercial building permits a year. Our residential permits are on a 48-hour turnaround. So you come to us for a permit, you've got the permit within 48 hours. Businesses, depends on the complexity of the business, but we're increasingly getting better at that as well. This is what I'm most excited about. Like I said, I'm a fourth-generation Newberry resident. My great-grandfather was a sharecropper. We have always been a blue-collar, agricultural, mining town, right? We work with our hands. That's Newberry's character. It's Newberry's history. But it's not going to be Newberry's future. You guys are selling, probably because, and I'll share that video with anybody who wants it, videos like that are increasingly inviting a greater diversity of resident to come to Newberry. So in 2020, median household income was about $74,000. Now it's over 104. In 2025, it's not on this slide, it was 104,000. That diversity of resident, that average income wealth inside of a house is hugely important. If you want a nice steakhouse, if you want a Publix instead of a Save-A-Lot, well, you need residents that have some disposable income. And for those commercial realtors, this should be the slide that piques your interest the most, right? When you are trying to convince that business to come to Newberry, you're not looking at the Newberry of 30 years ago where most people were minimum wage and they needed the 99-cent beer at the hitching post. Now we have residents who want the $7 craft beer at a brewery because they're going to sit there and they're going to have one or two and they're going to socialize. And they can do that because they're bringing more wealth into the community. I was elected, I'm sorry, I should have introduced myself a little bit. My name is Jordan Marlowe. I was a high school teacher at Newberry High for 19 years. I was elected to the commission in 2011, and I was elected to the mayor's seat in 2016, 17, somewhere in there. When I was first elected in 2011, I would ask questions. And I knew that I was living in 2011. I knew it was the 21st century. But I would ask these questions about population. I would ask questions about growth rates. And I would think that if that information wasn't readily accessible mentally by my employees, it was just a few keystrokes away on a computer to access that information. I was woefully wrong. Well, I would ask a question about what has our growth rate been for the last 3 or 4 years, and that would send my employees on a 2-week research project to put that information together. And I said, guys, we have to do better, right? We can beat this, right? And so we created these flyers, and it would have maps on it. It would show the developments. We were super excited about that. But now, and you guys all have access to this right on the city's webpage, if I did, and that disclaimer for you realtors, it says you cannot use this information as like legally binding information, but you say okay, and then if you scroll in, here's every active development in the city of Newberry. So if you're interested in anything, somebody asked me about the environmental park earlier, you can click on. So this is a development called Newberry Ridge. I think Ms. Joy back there probably very familiar with this. It was approved on 3/13/2011. I can click in the comprehensive plan amendment. I can see what zoning package is there. If I scroll down here, I can see exactly what it is. It's 225 acres. It's 1,250 housings, 390,000 of commercial real estate. Everything is right there. Everything is right there. And this is updated within 48 hours of the commission, of the second reading of a commission meeting. So it is in virtual real time. Right now, I can text my residents. However, the program that we use, residents have to opt in. In the next few days, actually, we're going to unroll this program, which is called Text My Gov. This is going to everyone's automatically in. In the old program, you had to opt in, you had to find out about it, you had to sign up for it. Now, everybody in the city of Newberry, without their knowledge, has already been enrolled in this. I'm going to send out my very first text to everybody. And then if you don't want to hear from me, it's a lot of power, I'm feeling it. If you don't want to hear from the city of Newberry, you can opt out. But I can narrow this field down to one house. And I can sell that one house there on a boil water notice. I can narrow the field down to one road, and I can say your road is about to begin construction. You have 48 hours until your life is hell. And then your life will be much, much better within 6 months of that, right? Because I'm going to fix that road for you. I can take that same road, I can narrow it down to a block. I can text those residents, say, you're not going to have access to this road between 8 o'clock in the morning and 11 o'clock. Even better, I can text my residents surveys, and I can say, please take this 3-question survey and tell me what you'd like to see in Newberry. We have spent an ungodly amount of money on consultants. Anybody here a consultant do this kind of work? We spend a lot of money on consultants who will host workshops and bring people together and have town hall meetings and all this kind of stuff. And we are elated, we're ecstatic when we get 300 people to answer the survey. We're like, this is great. Well, with this, I'm going to be able to text out 9,000 people, actually like 6,500 with people who have cell phones. And I'll say, here, take this survey. So we're about to be able to get the ability to communicate with our residents and our residents to communicate back to us. I think it's going to be tremendous because probably what you guys hear a lot from people you've sold a house to is, hey, I've lived here for 3 months. How am I supposed to know what's going on, right? How do I get involved in the community, right? And you can say, well, Newberry has this program, Text My Gov. And my one direction to staff is we can't irritate the residents so much that they opt back out, right? You got to be selective, because how many of you have kids with the school board here in Alachua County? There's a lot of phone calls. There's a lot of text messages. It's almost to the point where it drives you away from it because it feels a little bit like harassment. So I'm very excited about this. Our ability to survey, find out what our residents are thinking, let them know what's going on, let them know where we're at in each process. We just finished building a brand new 12,000 square foot addition to our city hall. I would have loved to have this throughout that process, and we can text people and say, hey, we're 50% complete, we're 75% complete, right? We're having a ribbon cutting, that kind of thing. We are active now. We are in the building. We'll have our first commission meeting slated right now for January 12th, ribbon cutting at 5 o'clock.
No, I mean the
Text My Gov. What day is today? I'm thinking the 5th. So it's within a few days. I'm going to use you as my informal poll. First text, just Merry Christmas. What do you think? Merry Christmas? Now, we also have the two-way pairs projects coming through. That's slated to begin in 26. I'm going to go ahead and let this play. End of 26, beginning of 27. I'm going to turn the volume down on this so I can tell you what's going on. There it is. So this, I'm really pleased with FDOT because they took a lot of time to make this graphic for us. Now this is coming into Newberry westbound. Just as you pass Bravo, which used to be Hitchcock's, was over there on the right, you're going to veer off, and Northwest 1st Avenue is going to become westbound Newberry Road. What the commission is going to do is on our dime along 1st Avenue, we are going to rezone all of those residents to commercial business district, CBD, on our dime. Now, if they want to stay as a residential, they'll stay paying residential taxes. But if they decide that they want to sell, they'll be able to sell that business as a commercial business. So I'm hoping that we get lots of doctors, architectural firms, lawyer firms, those kinds of things will come in. FDOT actually came, that house had to be torn down, but these are real structures that are along the way. And it allowed residents to be able to see that this isn't just going to be a straight shot thoroughfare, right? There's going to be some curves, there's going to be some bends, curbs, gutters, sidewalks on both sides, increased landscaping package. They really did work with us to make sure that this is still, even though it's a pass-through road, it's going to have a community road feel, right? Because we do have a lot of residents. Coming up on your right-hand side is the new Newberry Veterans Memorial. I might talk about that a little bit. And then we're going to be coming up to 337, which is where the two-way pairs will end. They're going to construct this really large roundabout that logging trucks and semi-trucks can navigate. I get that question a lot. Well, you didn't think about the semis. No, the state's pretty good at roads, right? Other governing entities maybe not, but the state is actually pretty good. And then we'll come back eastbound. This is going to increase our downtown parking by 125%. It's going to increase our commercial footprint by 100%. And we'll be able to maintain that green space in between. Green space is very important in the city of Newberry, yeah. The eminent domain, there's only 2 properties that the state had to acquire in total, and both of those were rental properties. So they weren't long-term legacy halls. Everything else was, I need 3 foot here, I need 4 foot there. Everyone has been reluctantly excited, right, about it. Everybody gets that Newberry Road. When FDOT came and made this presentation to us in 2014, they said they were going to be started within 5 years. At that point in time, Newberry Road was a C road, and it was slated to be an F by the time they got started. Well, it's 2025. It's about to be 2026. We haven't got started yet. We've done all of the engineering, the design, all of that is ready to go. And actually, we're going to start on our piece within the next 2 or 3 weeks on First Avenue. I would say Newberry Road is probably at F right now, right? But certain times of the day, it's really hard to get out. And if you have to take a left-hand turn, you block everybody up, right? So very excited to get this project started. But I also want everybody to know, and you guys can help me, when we get this started, it's a 30-month project. So this is not something that's going to come in and be done overnight. There is going to be some heartburn. There is going to be some headache. We are going to go through it in this time period. We're just like New York City now. We went from a 1-light town to a 2-light town. We're New York City. It's over, right? But that's not where, and we're about to be a 3-light town when this happens. Oh my goodness, 3 lights, us in Manhattan, right? That's it. That's it. But the project that really drives development, when I was a young man, many, many moons ago, I thought that electricity drove development. Turns out it's really sewer, right? We don't ever really talk about sewer, understandably, but development follows sewer. Newberry has just gone to bid on an $80 million, we'll find out exactly how much that will cost, advanced treatment wastewater facility. This is going to take us into the next 20 years. So we are partners with the city of Archer on this. How many of you have been trying to build in Archer for 20, 30 years? You're soon going to be able to, right? Now, Archer has some things that it has to do on its end, right? But they have to build a collection, they have to hook up their residents, but then they're going to pump their sewage to Newberry. Newberry will treat it. Every single city in the state of Florida, when their permit expires, is going to have to build an advanced treatment wastewater facility. Before that law changed, which was about 4 years ago, it would have cost us about $22-25 million to build a wastewater treatment facility. That one change now drove that cost up to close to $80 million. Now, I'm not knocking the state, I'm not knocking the regulation. It's good for the environment. We all care about getting rid of septic tanks. We all care about red tide. We know that we're sitting over the aquifer. But how in the world is a city the size of Archer with 1,000 people supposed to spend $80 million on a treatment? How in the world is a city the size of Newberry at 9,000 supposed to spend $80 million, right? So my message to Tallahassee is these are great regulations, but somehow you have to help, right? So you can't just mandate these unfunded mandates. Now, to their credit, Archer has been fully funded. So all the doom and gloom headlines you hear about Archer, those are all overrated. They got a speed bump, but their success is in their future, right? And the partnership with Newberry for the sewer plant is going to ensure that, right? So they are fully funded. Newberry was able to get about $30 million in grants and loan forgiveness. So I'm not complaining, but that still leaves about $40 million left over by the time Archer's paid their share. And even $40 million is tough for a city of $9,000 to weather, right? So this is about a 3-year, 2.5, 3-year construction build. But we are out to bid right now. We should have those bid packages in the next few weeks. I love being mayor. I really love being the manager. My favorite part about being mayor and what is becoming my favorite part about being manager is building community. And that's where you guys come in, right? You guys are the front line of building community. You all have the opportunity to show your clients 9 different cities, all this unincorporated territory all across. And you could go outside of Alachua County, I'm not judging. But many of you are bringing your clients to Newberry, and I appreciate that, right? And knowing what kind of community Newberry is and what we're trying to build, I think is helpful when you talk to your clients about where do you want to join? What kind of community do you want to be a part of? I think community is a set of shared values. And I think we should all strive to join a community that shares our values. We build roads in Newberry. We build sewer plants in Newberry. We bring second electric feeds into Newberry. We do all of that stuff, right? We do all of that infrastructure stuff. But what we talk about is community. Newberry values our veterans. We value the sacrifices that they made. And we want our children to grow up in a community that sees that value in a physical manifestation. So we came together to build this Veterans Memorial. It's about $900,000. A little over $600,000 of that was raised by the community, privately donated funds from the community. We used some money from the Wild Spaces to get it done as well. But now our children have a place to go, and we can talk about the sacrifices that have been made so that we have the opportunity to live in a free community and build that into the community that we want it to be. Which brings me to education in Newberry. Some of you might have seen a couple of headlines in the paper about Newberry converting our elementary school to a conversion charter. Our Newberry Elementary School has been over 100% capacity for over a decade. Over 100% capacity for over a decade. Last year we were at 150. This year it's at close to 160% capacity. I was a teacher for 19 years. I can tell you, I could be the best teacher in the world. I can be the most dynamic teacher in the world. I can be the most engaging teacher in the world. You put 43 kids in my classroom, I can't effectively teach. If I don't have air conditioning in my classroom, I can't effectively teach. In my classroom 2 years ago, I went 13 weeks without air conditioning. Have you ever tried to teach 15, 16-year-old Shakespeare in a room that's a quarter the size of this? And it's 93 degrees in the room, and they just came from gym. And so they smell very lovely, right? To be or not to be, right? Yeah. So my community came together, and they said, we can do better, right? We don't want to see teachers leaving the classroom every day in tears. We don't want to hear about how the copy machine never works because it's breaking all the time. Right? We don't want to hear about how the buses can never pick up the kids and get them to school on time, right? We want to help. We want to be a partner. So they came together, they called a vote, and Newberry successfully voted by an overwhelming majority of parents to convert the elementary school into a conversion charter. And the community is set to take over the school in the 26-27 school year. They just hired a much beloved local principal a week or so ago who will be coming back to help lead this effort. But this is community building as well, right? We want a school that functions. We want to invest in our children. We want them to see that we love them and we care about them. And when their teachers are suffering from mental health issues because they're overworked and underpaid and nothing works right, we want our kids to see us fighting for them and for the kids. You also may have seen about a month or two ago, my commission invested $2 million of Wild Spaces Public Places money into bringing Champions Park back up to snuff. This, for some reason, has caused some considerable debate, but we have pretty good numbers. And last year, Champions Park brought in over 400,000 out-of-county residents. We have yet to see any other entity in the county bring in more out-of-county residents besides for the University of Florida, and I don't think that's a fair competition. Right? So University of Florida should be over here. And then everyone else should be over here, right? Trying to figure out how we can help fill up those hotels when the University of Florida is not playing basketball or baseball or sometimes football. We don't talk about that this year. Recovering teacher, and I can tell you that leaving the teaching profession was the hardest part of becoming a manager. But once you get out of it, you turn back around, and it's almost like you were in an abusive relationship. It's what it's like. It's an abuse. Like you're cussed out. Kids cuss you out all the time. You have no resources, right? I was with a department head today, and he said to me, Jordan, I don't understand. You have this amazing capacity to deal with stress. Nothing seems to faze you. I'm like, hey, buddy, I'm a public school teacher, right? Like, this job is easy. compared to I was my own secretary, I was my own graphic design artist. Now I've got 90 employees that are all on mission one, right? All on mission one. So it is all about community building, and that effort, as tense as it was and as much negativity was spread around it, it really was all about providing our kids with an education, an air-conditioned classroom with one teacher for 18 kids, not 44, and those kinds of things. But I also see Champions Park in the same light, right? Youth sports, Newberry has a very robust, I think it's the best rec program in Alachua County. 3 reasons people move to Newberry, I ask all the time, and it's schools, small town feel, and what's the third one? I already said that. Schools and recreation, right? Avalon Woods is a development that is built around Easton, and our Parks and Rec director, Rod Clark, moved to Avalon Woods before he was the Parks and Rec director because he wanted his kids in Newberry recreational programming, right? It's great team building, problem solving. We've had 3 management companies at Champions Park in the 15 years that it's been built. We've never been able to find a management company that can manage the park and maintain the park at the same time. So we've had people that are really good at running tournaments, but the park has fallen into disrepair. So we've spent $2 million, and at the last commission meeting, my commission gave direction to bring it back into the Newberry Parks and Recreation fold. So we're going to make it look like Disney World again. We're going to fix it all up. We're going to provide shade, air-conditioned bathrooms. We're going to paint it. We're going to fix the fields. We're going to fix the fences. We're going to make it look like it should look, because it's not about, for the commission, it's not about a profit, right? Champions Park just has to come close to paying for itself. What we want out of it is we want all of those kids and all of those parents that are coming from all over the country, we want them to go to all of the businesses in town. We want them to eat at the restaurants. We want them to shop at the stores. We want to fill up the gas tanks, right? That's all we want. That's all we need out of the relationship. But in order to do that, I can't come to the park and it be a dilapidated park and I never want to come back. I want kids, when they leave Champions Park, to say, I don't want to play anywhere else. I refuse, Mom, to play in Lake City. I refuse to play anywhere else. Champions Park is the place that I want to go because that's how good Champions Park is. So very excited about the future of Champions Park. And the big news, I don't know, maybe y'all didn't see it, but Newberry about 10 years ago went, set on a path to become, to follow in the city of Alachua's footsteps with biotech. But we are an agricultural community. Like I said, my great-grandfather was a sharecropper. My grandfather was a farmer. My family farm was literally purchased by my grandfather while he was sitting in a German prison war camp in World War II. He was captured in Normandy. He had already worked out with the Army to send his paycheck home to buy the farm. So my farm has a lot of legacy, right? It means a lot to my family. But we've got to figure out a way to help the farmer make money, because the last crop any farmer plants is houses, unless the farmer is making money off of that crop. So we decided that we wanted to follow in Alachua's footsteps and make an ag, tech, and research park. We believe in preserving the past. We like that history. We want that agricultural roots, but it's not Granddad's ag anymore, right? We're not talking about behind a mule. I have pictures of my grandfather with my father on his shoulders behind a mule plowing the field. I could no more, I don't think I could work the plow, much less do it with another human being on my shoulders, right? So that's the past. But we want to keep one foot in that agricultural heritage, but we also want to go into the future. And the future of ag, as a teacher, I always told my students, the world population is slated to hit 9 billion by 2050. We can't feed that many right now. Agricultural production cannot feed 9 billion people on this planet. When you can't feed the people, that's when civil unrest happens. That's when people get upset. Bad things happen in the world. If you're a historian, that's all you have to do. Every revolution, every war had a famine or something like that happen right before it, right? So we, in Newberry, we want to be the tip of the spear. We want to figure out how to feed the world. That's our aspiration. Newberry wants to feed the world. And the future of ag looks like robotics. The future of the world looks like drones. It looks like AI, right? This is where, as we get closer and closer to that breaking point, you're going to start to see people like you invest a lot of money in answering these questions. There's going to be a ton of money put into how to feed the world, but we need to be preparing for that now. It's like that sewer plant. We've been working on that sewer plant for 5 years. Now, if your city, and this is a good question to ask your mayor, if your city's permit expires within the next 1 or 2 years and they have to build in advance, you should ask them what the plan is, because they can't build the old plant. They have to build an advanced treatment facility. We've been working on it for 5 years, and it was a tough 5 years. So things like this you have to start preparing for now. This is what the future looks like.
Hello, my name is Charles Garza. I'm the CEO and partner of Harvest Singularity, Inc. We are a company that focuses on agriculture technology, developing and operating 100% controlled environment hydroponic greenhouses. We have a plan to build 10 of these facilities in the state of Florida initially. We're looking at Newberry as our first site to develop our first farm.
So as the mayor of Newberry, it's very exciting to finally have Harvest Singularity here, and we'll be opening the doors very soon. But this has been an exciting project. It's great to see it actually come out of the ground, literally almost like a plant, and grow, and we're finally going to bear some harvest here very soon.
Our first farms are approximately 320,000 square feet in size. Our first cultivars that we will be growing are leafy greens such as lettuce, kale, arugula. Part of our technology allows us and affords us to produce these leafy greens and fruits and vegetables in a way that we don't need to use pesticides. Also, given that we're using a controlled environment, we can have many more harvests per year than in conventional agriculture. So in comparison to conventional ag, we can produce the same amount of output, but with 95% less land, without 95% less use of water. So making it a very sustainable type of agriculture.
So Harvest Singularity and a few other companies like that are really important if we are going to continue to allow this economy to expand in this region. So my congratulations to the City of Newberry to understand the challenges that we have in front of us, but also to understand the opportunities. And by bringing these new entities into these areas, we can do a whole lot of really good things for our state.
And we are very excited to launch our first facility here at the Ag Tech Park in Newberry, working together with the municipality and all of the leadership here. So we're very grateful for their support, and we look forward to operating these in the coming future.
95% less land, 95% less water. It's 22 tons of leafy greens per harvest, 19 to 22 harvests a year. They'll be able to sell leafy greens to Publix, your local grocer, as organic leafy greens, cheaper than the non-organic leafy greens that exist in the grocery store today. This is how you feed the world. We have a partner in UF-IFAS. I'm a teacher by heart. I know I'm a manager right now, but I'll always be a teacher by heart. Education is great at answering questions. We really suck at getting the answers to those questions into the market and helping people figure out, oh, here's the solution. I did this 10-year research project. This is how you do it, right? You think of the University of Florida, what's the one objection to that rule we can all name? Gatorade, right? Gatorade. How many millions of dollars, Mitch, does Gatorade bring into University of Florida? I think it's like $32 million a year is what they get. Now, how many solutions do you think UF has actually generated to problems like that are sitting on a shelf in a 3-inch binder? Nobody's even scanned it into a computer yet, right? Because we don't teach kids how to be entrepreneurs. We don't teach them how to take those solutions that they just spent all that money and got that federal grant funding to figure out and get it to the market. Ag Tech is gonna work on that, right? So we have an anchor tenant now. We have a great partner in UF-IFAS, right? And we are going to be able, the goal is to help mom and dad make the farm profitable. This is like my 5th time saying it, but I'm a 4th generation farmer in Newberry. I can't sell my farm. We got about 500 acres. I can't sell that. 160 acres, my grandfather almost died to get. Now that 500 acres, I don't know, y'all are realtors, how much do you think that's worth? Priceless. Priceless. So do I have a priceless inheritance, or do I have a 16-hour-a-day burden?
You have a lot of property taxes.
That's true.
Yeah, I have a lot of property taxes, right? So when it's my turn to pass this family farm down to my children, am I giving them a gift, or am I giving them a sentimental chain around their neck? Which one is it, right? Ag tech is going to help give them a gift. If I can make my farm profitable to where my kids are making $100,000, $200,000 more a year, and the developer shows up and offers them $20,000 an acre to build houses, they're going to say, no, this is my family farm, right? I enjoy it. I fly drones all day, right? I'm not back breaking behind a mule with my child because I don't have daycare on my shoulders, right? I'm flying a drone. I'm working 12 tractors at one time with an iPad, right? That's tomorrow's ag, right? And now I keep the farm. And I tell the developer, no, thank you. But I could not blame my children if I can't make the farm profitable and I pass on and the developer shows up and says, at that point, I'll give you $30,000 an acre. I can't blame them if they decide, I don't want to be a 16-hour-a-day farmer for $50,000 a year in an unstable market economy, right? I'm going to take the money and I'm going to run, right? And I'm not going to be mad at them. I'll be heartbroken in heaven, right? But I will understand the decision.